I want to give you my review of the Anker Solux C1000. I've been testing it for the last three and a half weeks, and I'm putting it through the paces of charging it up with solar, putting it up against my microwave, fridge, other kitchen appliances, and I've also been doing pass-through mode. Been charging, discharging it, charging it up with solar, charging it up with the wall, fast charging, slow charging, pretty much everything you can do with the battery that I feel like I've done a pretty good test. So I want to show you some of the things I found, some of the things I like, some of the things I don't like, and kind of just give you an overview.
Is plugging it into the fridge and the microwave, so I have it just on the counter here. And the reason I like this is because these are the things that I feel like I need in an emergency situation. So really, this is testing if it can be used as an emergency backup battery, as well as just something to use for camping. So I'm going to turn on the outlet. That's what that button is. Plug in the fridge. And we can see now that it's pulling 149 watts. So the fridge is actually kind of interesting. It turns on and off and on and off. So it may actually last longer than 4.7 hours just because it uses more watts, and then it'll turn off and then move and then use less, obviously. So let's test it.
What we're gonna do now is we're gonna click on 30 seconds of the microwave and see what that does here. So now it says it only has 0.4 hours because it's going at 1800 watts. The fan just kicked on.
This is kind of demonstrating one of those things that's really nice about the Anker Solux 1000, where it can output such a high amount of watts. And we're seeing that right now where you can run the fridge and you can run the microwave at the same time, and it's at 18, almost 1900 watts, and it's doing totally fine.
Okay. That's the fan sound. Do you hear that? Fan just kicked off.
So I was able to run the fridge and the microwave for 30 seconds without any issue.
So now it's showing that we're still pulling 345 watts, and we only have 2 hours remaining. It doesn't seem to make sense. Not sure why it's doing that. Let's run it for a minute like we did the other one.
I always like to do this test on the microwave because the microwave is not very efficient. It uses a lot of power. And so I always want to do the test on it because it's one of the harder things for a battery to handle. And it does totally fine with it. If you're in a real survival situation, you probably use a hot plate or something that uses a little bit less power and you get a little bit longer use out of it. But you can see with this, you can have it on for a minute. We did a 30-second cycle, did a minute cycle. It's still at 72%, 71% now. So it is meant to handle this type of thing and can really be there for you in an emergency.
One of the things that I do think is a little bit less helpful is this 0.3 hours. I don't do the math in my head what 0.3 hours is versus just telling me how many minutes it actually is going to be.
Okay, I was super impressed with this test. It handled it better than any of the other batteries that I tested. Between this one, the Anker, the EcoFlow, and then the Jackery, this one handled it the best. And I think the reason why is because it has the highest continuous output, which is at like 2,100 or something, that it can just continuously output that amount of power, which is probably why this handled the best. So if you're looking for a battery, I would probably go with Anker.